Hi, I'm Andy the Northern Diver and welcome to another edition of our weekly blog. In this episode we're going to be talking about how to keep your hands and your feet warm in this crap weather we're having. So when the water temperature is about 5 or 6 degrees and you can only manage about a 10-15 minute dive, but you'd like to stay in longer, and because your hands are freezing up and you can't do anything, or your feet are just so numb that you feel like thinning is painful as anything, we're going to teach you a few little methods that I've learned, and some as recent as only last month, on how to keep warmer and stay in the water for longer. A good brew always helps to start with. In this case it's chicken noodle soup. It's quite nice actually. So a couple of weeks ago I was up at Cape and Ray diving on my own, and in between dives I spoke to one of the guys in the shop saying how cold my feet were and how I bought these really expensive socks and how they just didn't seem to make any difference to whether I had them on or a thin pair. So he said, well, what are you wearing on your feet while you're in the water? So I wear rock boots, and the ones I wear are from Aqualung, and as you can see quite close up, there's quite a lot of mesh around the side of it. So what you get is what's called flushing. So water will enter the shoe and come straight out, so there's no water so much held in the boot itself. So what he suggested is get yourself a wetsuit boot, a couple of sizes too big for you. That way you can get your dry suited foot in this shoe, and the neoprene that it's made of will keep some water within there, won't flush it in and out. So it'll be that little bit warmer than what the surrounding water is. Although it's not going to have contact with your body, it will just be marginally warmer, therefore you'll be marginally warmer. I was going to try and get all the noodles out. Oh, thanks for the text message. During the sort of summer, warmer months, I'll have this really thin sort of builder's glove, cheaply available for about £1, £1.50 from any sort of hardware store or supermarket, them kind of places. It's literally like your most Billy basic gardening glove. So it's just a cotton elasticated outer with some sort of rubber textured piece, so it's a bit easy to grab whilst you're underwater and they're wet. They're ideal anywhere in the world where the water's pretty warm. So I'd probably take them out to the Red Sea or somewhere in the Canaries, Mediterranean and that. Just summer diving. Maybe over here if it gets warm enough, but they're enough to keep my hands warm in that kind of weather. Maybe if I was snorkeling or perhaps in slightly cooler, so maybe spring or autumn, but the water was relatively warm, I'd just get a really thin neoprene glove. Now they're absolutely great, these, because they're cheap. You can buy them off the internet or whatever for less than sort of a tenner. The problem I always find is the fingertips always wear through. It's always them two. I don't know why, but it always is. They have a textured sort of palm, if you will, and a velcro strap. The benefit of that, you can get it nice and tight if you feel you need it, but it keeps the water in, so that water will continue to get warm off your body temperature and in turn get your hands feeling warm. So that's always a big deal. I personally prefer though a dry glove. So with my dry glove system, I tend to find everybody's glove are black or dark grey, so you can't see their hands. So with my dry glove system, I wear like a marigold glove, like a washing up glove. So inside it's black, it could be pink, it could be yellow, whatever, but I've turned it inside out. The reason being is it's got like a rougher texture on the outside and it's bright white. So if you see that up against my top versus this black glove that I've just tried on, one clearly stands out more than the other. So assuming that we're in quite dark water, and if I'm giving you an OK signal, at least that against my top will stand out nice and bright, whereas it probably wouldn't if I had a black glove on. So a white glove, always much better. So these are nice thin ones, and I wear these pretty much 80% of the year. But since I went to the dive show at the weekend, a couple of weekends ago, they told me about a sort of different system that I'm not using or wasn't using that should help keep my hands warmer. So starts off with a thin sort of cotton glove that keeps my hand nice and snug. It covers all my fingers perfectly. It's the right size for me. Then what we're going to do is get one of these little hotties. So these are heat pads. As soon as they come out of this packet, they start to warm up, and they get 46 degrees, it says on here, can get that warm. So you take one of these out, it's got a sticky pad, so I put that on the palm of my hand. It's not in contact with my skin, which is quite important because of how hot it gets. And then once I've got that on, I'll put on this Icelandic wool inner glove. It's one size bigger than perhaps I would normally buy if I was just wearing them. That's to take into account wearing the liner glove underneath the blue one. So now that that's on, and it fits all nice and snug, okay, the pad's in place inside, I'll put my actual dry glove on. Now these were new as well, you can see that on there. So you've got a textured outer. Now, the reason for being textured is so you can grab stuff, that's the first one. But these are a lot thicker, and they're perhaps more for the cave diver or wreck diver than just someone who goes around just taking pictures of reef scenery and stuff and doesn't touch anything. But they are nice and bulky. My hands are relatively, you know, filling of the fingertips, perhaps not as long as they could be, but certainly I can move my hand around and I don't feel like it's too constricted. And then obviously I've got the dry cuff, which fits into the cuff of my dry suit. But that, to me, I dived that a couple of weekends ago, it was absolutely perfect. Other than the fact you lose your dexterity, you can't feel the ends of your fingertips as such, and you can't really grab what you could beforehand, like with the naked hand. It's absolutely perfect for keeping my hands warm, which at this time of year, let's be honest, that's what you're after, isn't it? So that's that, the dry glove system with the heat pad. So two options we've got then, and neoprene gloves. These are a lot thicker than the ones I showed you earlier on, and a lot slicker, okay, and they've got a zip, so it feels nice and secure, nice and tight. Now I actually used this last weekend. I was surfing down in South Wales, and if I've got any gripe about it at all, is that the zip is so easy to come undone. There's no means of locking it to stop it just coming down. So when I was paddling along on my surfboard, I found that was coming done quite often, and water would flush in, like cold water from the sea would flush in, and then warm water from inside the glove would flush out, so I had particularly cold hands. But a flipping belting glove now, if you look on the inside, they've got this sort of slick fabric. This helps keep the water in, so it almost like grabs hold of your skin. So the more water you can keep from flushing in and out, the better. Whereas these ones have like a sort of thermal lining designed to just dry really quickly. So again, a really thick glove. The main difference is we've got a Velcro strap here to keep that shut. I prefer that because it's less likely to come undone, and you can get it really tight. If your glove isn't as good fitting as this one with the zip, then you can pull this one with the strap really tight and really get some sort of grab on there. So for me, it's the one with the strap. Again, the fingertips started to wear away, so I just lend them out to my mates now rather than wear them myself. So I hope some of these tips and hints will be some use to you. Get you back in the water this weekend. That's if coronavirus doesn't get you. And in doing so, you know, hopefully your hands and your feet will be a lot warmer. So if you've enjoyed the video, or you've benefited from its content, there's a nice big thumbs up down there. Really appreciate it if you give us one of them. Always spurs me on to see that I've got another like. Certainly give us a click on the subscription button here. I say it every week and it never ever goes up. I'm still less than 100. Can't rename my channel Andy the Northern Diver till I get 100. So really appreciate if you click that, that'd be ace. And then I'll try somewhere on here, I'll put a couple of videos on so you can watch previous ones. If not, I'll see you on the next one. I'll see you on Insta.